Quality Crafts Progressive Challenge from Bloobel coloring video. I'm going to share with you just some basic tips and tricks on how to color using alcohol markers today. And we're going to be using the Ohuhu brand. It sounds so funny, but literally it's called Ohuhu. Check it out. I have just tweaked the lighting slightly here. Hey, Christy. And so my face looks really bright, but it makes what I'm coloring here look a little bit more vivid. So when I move that over, I just think it's a little bit more clear than the last time that we were together. So hey, Carlene, I am live. So if you're watching this archived, this camera is really wiggly. You're going to notice that I'm speaking to people. I'm speaking to people in the live chat. So if you want to get in on that, you got to catch me when I'm live. Now, my coloring videos just tend to vary, but the other ones, there are, hey, Michelle, Thursday evenings from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and Sunday afternoons from 2 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time are always at those times. So if you want to catch us live, if you want to be in on the community, chatting with us, doing this real time, then catch us on one of those two times. Again, Thursday evenings, 6 to 7 p.m. and Sunday afternoons, 2 to 3 p.m. And remember, it's always Central Standard Time. Hi, Tarita. So today I thought that we would just get together and try this coloring bit a little bit in the morning. So I've come on now at 11 a.m., which is not a typical time for me, but I just wanted to see how it would go because I have people from all over the world watching. And we are coloring a progressive challenge Bloobel image. And shame on me for not knowing the name of this specific image, but you got to choose this time around, this month, from like 5 or 6 different images. And I chose this one. And so the collection is called Icecream for Everyone. And when you get this one, if you check it out here, the eyeballs are completely white. So that might be a little daunting to some. You might look at that and go, oh, there's like no pupil or iris or anything there. There's just a big daunting, black hole. That's a white hole, right? So we're gonna work on making those look like eyes. This is what I came up with the first time. If you want me to do the exact same eyes, I can show you that. If you want to do different songs, that's fine too. I was just thinking about when I turned my video on, I always have it to beginning soon picture. And I didn't this time, so I was like, oh, I think I'll dance for the people. So I hope you enjoyed the intro, the music, and the dancing. Dun, 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 dun. That's so fun. I love that music. Let's get started. We're going to do one pink, one green, and then essentially all of the cone colors, kind of a brown color. Now, these are not typically the colors you would think when you think about, oh, the noises you're hearing, they're working on the street. I'm on like a corner. They're literally working on the whole corner. So you're going to be hearing lots of crazy sounds, I know. Stick with me. These don't look like cone colors when you first look at them, but these are the colors that I used. And it's 31 dark yellow, 135 pale cherry pink, and 100 walnut. Now the Ohuhu brand markers are very inexpensive markers, and you're going to notice that, oh, Michelle, you missed the dancing. You'll have to go back and watch. They're super cheap markers. They're 50 cents or less a marker. Now, they're not like Copics and Spectrum Noirs where you can't buy refills and refill the marker and that stuff. But that's kind of a trade-off for if you're looking for a really inexpensive set to get started. This is a really good one. The tips are exactly like Spectrum Noir in that you've got a chisel end tip on one side and a little like bullet nib on the other. They are not like Copics in the fact that they do not have a brush tip. But this is what I learned with, so it doesn't bother me that there's no brush tip. So let's start with the cone pieces. I've got like a dark color, a medium color, and a light color. Previously, when I've showed you coloring videos, I've showed you with like minimalist kind of things where you can get shading with just one color, or you can get shading with just 2 colors. I'm going to do a little bit more in-depth shading, as you can see on here, with a couple of different colors. So the lightest color I have is 135 pale cherry pink. And I'm going to go ahead and just color in the ears. And again, my style of coloring is very much the opposite of what you'll probably see everywhere else. I like to get things done in a quicker amount of time. Now, if you have time to spend and you want to go over this and over this and over this and do a really great job and get super detailed and stuff like that, you can feel free to do that. Let me just scoot this over. I want to make sure you guys are seeing that. And then I'm going to take the darkest color that I have, and I'm probably going to bleed out a little bit because I have to be a little bit further away from the picture. Plus I had to turn off some lights because I wanted this to come through super clear for you. So what I'm doing is taking the darkest color, as I said, and I'm going around the edges. It's okay if it bleeds inwards into that lighter one because we're going to want to add some colors here to make it blend anyway. So a little bit underneath there. You could even go around the ears here. I didn't on the other one, but you can. And then I'm going to take my middle color, which is the dark yellow, number 31, and I'm going to blend that into that other color. Like again, I'm just scribbling, I'm just coloring along that color, not being like super careful. You don't have to be a color engineer, you know, to make nice blending. And then I'm going to go back in with that lightest color again, and I'm just going to scribble and make little like circular motions over the whole darn thing and get them to blend out a little bit more. And that's it. Like I said, you can get crazy, and I could have went over those layers over and over and over again for an hour if you want me to. I really think that people can get some nice blended looks, and it doesn't have to take hours and hours. Here's the difference between these two. If you look at this one, where I didn't put the dark brown on the inside of the ears, so that's the difference. But a very nicely blended out look. I think it looks really, really nice. Now on the bottom cone, we're going to take the darkest color, and we're going to do all these little like highlighted ridges here in the darkest color. I just want people to know that they don't have to break the bank and they don't have to spend oodles and oodles of time to get a really nice looking ending product here. And then all of these other little square parts here. This takes a minute because there's a lot of little parts here, which is another reason why I didn't pick one of the other images, which had all kinds of teeny tiny things to color. When you're starting out, try to pick images that have more big blocks to color. Like, you know, here, these don't have any super tiny things to color. It'll make your coloring experience go a lot smoother, and you won't feel so bad. And then I'm going to go take the lightest color, and I'm just going to lay down a light color here first. Then I'm going to go back in with the medium color. So there's the light color down, and then I'm going to take this nice golden color, and I'm going to just go from the top down and from the bottom up. I'm leaving a little bit in the middle where I haven't gone over it to make it look like kind of like a shiny spot, or whatever you want to call it. And then I'm going to go back over it again with the lightest color and blend those out a little bit. And there we have it. Now you can add the darker brown to the tops and bottoms too if you want. I chose not to. And now I'm going to go over the whole bottom of the cone to color in, and it doesn't matter if I go over the top of that dark brown, to color in all of those little spots, to lay down some color. And then I'm going to go back in with that caramely color, and I'm just going to put a little bit on the left side of each one of those little holes to make them look like they have a little bit of depth. I'm not being super careful about it. I'm not, you know, using rocket science or anything. Just a little dab on each corner of those. And then I'm going to go back over it with that lighter color. And you can even, all I'm doing is using 110-pound cardstock. I'm not even using watercolor or specialty paper or anything like that. Going back over it with the lightest color like that. Now, if you don't like the look, like it kind of blended out dark brown. If you want that dark brown to pop again, just go over the top of it again with a little bit more of your dark brown, and that'll bring it back out. Anytime you go over a dark one with a lighter one, it's going to blend that out and essentially kind of bleach that color out a little bit. So there we go. We'll just add that back in. Voila! Okay, so that takes care of all of the cone, I believe. Let's go ahead and get the little noses out of the way. They're just black, gray and black. So I've got a totally black color, 120, and a blue-gray color, BG7. 110-pound Nina cardstock. The brightness I think is only like a 92 or a 94. Sharpie markers work, but they're harder to blend. I started out with them. You have to move pretty quickly, and you want to use the lighter colors that you can. The darker ones I always had a problem blending with, but absolutely, you should be able to use Sharpie markers, no problem. So I'm just going to use the darker gray color and color in the noses quick. And I'm trying not to touch it too much towards the line because I don't want it to bleed out into the cone. And then I'm just going to put a little dab of, whoa, I don't want the chisel end. A little dab of black, a little dot right there. That's it, just a dot. And a little like swirl of black here. And that's it. Now at the end, and you guys can do this too, is use a white gel pen. These are also in my store if you're looking for these. The Ohuhu markers are in the description box below, so you can purchase them through Amazon. I affiliate with them, so if you use my links, thank you so much for supporting my channel. And if you get a gel pen, or if you have one like this, these are in the Quality Craft store. These are really good for all of the little highlights and things that you do at the end. See where all this little white is? The little whites in their eyes, these little highlighted white lines. The gel pen at the end just gives it that last bit of pop, like wow, it just looks a lot more realistic. So if you have one of those around, that's a good thing to have. Now the top ice cream here, I did in pink. So I picked out a bunch of pink colors. Tender Pink 198, Azalea Purple 87, Vivid Pink 6, and Pastel Violet 84. And what I'm going to do, because this is what I do when I color. You'll see it right here. This is what I did when I had my first one and I wrote down all my colors. I'm just going to flip that over. Is that I go ahead and I just scribble on a little bit to see what's my lightest color. Because sometimes the color on the ends of the caps don't exactly tell you, you know, they're not perfect. So this is my lightest one. And then I hold them in my hand like lightest to darkest. That's a pretty dark one. So that's a medium, that's a dark. And this one should be super, super dark. Yeah. So I've got 4 colors here. I'm going to leave my darkest color down. But I'm going to start with the lightest one. If you go back in my videos, you'll notice that I've done this kind of coloring tutorial using all kinds of other things. So Michelle just mentioned markers, pencils, watercolors, whatever medium you have to work with. I've shown just about all of them, and you can get really nice results with any kind of medium you have. You don't have to go out and buy them all. You definitely don't have to go out and buy markers. You can get the same effect using colored pencils. Colored pencils by themselves, colored pencils with GamSaw, colored pencils with blender pencils, whatever you have. Experiment with it. That's how I learned. I learned by watching other people color on YouTube, but mostly by taking what I saw them do and creating my own style by practicing, practicing, practicing. And this is where all these little drips and stuff, you're just going to have to decide for yourself what color you want them. Like that's obviously part of that little white spot at the top, but then these other little drips, you can decide what color you want them. This drip that drop down here, that's probably going to be pink from this one. These drips down here, I'm just going to make them falling from the bottom one, but you could have pink falling all the way down there. That's completely up to you. But now I'm going to go back in with my medium shade, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm just going to go ahead and outline this not in any real super superior, awesomely slow and drive you nuts kind of way, but just scribble it, you know. There's the edge, there's the top of his eye, the other top of his eye, down this edge, around this paw on the top. Here's another little ice cream paw. There's a drip. Let's put a little bit in that one. That's it, you know. And then follow that with the next darker color that you have and do the same thing all over again. Just this time, put it closer to the edge. Not quite as far out as the first color you put. And a little bit in that one. And maybe a little across its eyes, make them stand out, okay? Then you can always go back in with your lighter color or your medium color and blend that out. Now, as far as the Ohuhu markers go, as I'm doing this, it looks kind of orange. But as these dry, the color very much changes. So I want to show you this real quick. Look at that funky color I have in there. I used that same color to do this one. And do you see the difference in the color as it dried? It's not going to stay looking like that orangey color. And if you're concerned about how it looks when it dries, you can always layer on the top of it and go back in with your medium. But I'm going to leave that alone and see what happens as that dries out. If I'm dissatisfied with it, I go back in and do it again. Now, the next one is the same exact kind of thing that we're doing with the top one, only we're using a mix of greens. I only used 3 here, but here's my darkest color that I used, okay? I can still go back in, even with that darkest color, and add an even deeper shadow to all these colors, all these little corners. See that? Do you see how I'm just darkening that up? And then what all the professionals do, usually, is they go back in with their other darkest color and they just keep blending it out. So all you're doing is saying, okay, that's where I put the color. I'm going to go back over that color. I'm going to bring it out a little bit more. Reds and pinks tend to bleed ginormously, so you want to be really careful with reds and pinks how close you get to the edge. Then I'm going to go ahead and just add in my next color, blend that even a little bit further out. A little bit there. Okay, and then bring in that last color, which looks kind of like orange, but it's really not. It's really a light pink. I'm gonna go back over the whole thing here. Okay, now let's just let that sit and work on the green. That being said, I used 4 colors to just blend that out. Is it super duper blended? No, not super duper blended, but we're gonna let it sit. This one didn't look super blended either, but now it kind of does. There's some of the darker edges don't look 100% blended. It's just fine. You know, it doesn't have to be 100% professionally awesomely looking for people to look at it and go, wow, that's really cute. So don't be so hard, don't be too hard on yourself about how things look in the get-go. So now I'm just going to scribble these on here. I'm going to make sure that I have my darkest to my lightest in order here. These two are very, very much close. So I'm just going to use one of them. There's a darker one. And there's my darkest one. So I'm going to be using 167 pale green light, 47 grass green, and 46 vivid green. This is my lightest one, my medium, and my dark. Same idea. I'm going to go through the whole thing right off the bat with the lightest color I chose. Now I bled out there in the brown, but I'm going over it with green, so you probably won't even really notice it. A couple places I bled out in the pink. I'm going to go over the top of that with my green. Probably won't even notice it. Almost covered up my whole eye there. You don't want to color in the eyes, because we're going to do a different color in the eyes when we're done here. And the quicker you work, the less chance there is for any of this to show lines. Like if you color with a water-based marker, you get those funny lines. That's why people like the alcohol-based markers, because it all blends together and you don't get those funny I colored this lines. And so the quicker you move, the better off you are, because that way all the alcohol and the color just blends together. Okay, so we've got one layer of green down. Now I'm going to go in with my medium color. I am the professional. That's right, Bling It On Pat. I've had a lot of experience. It's just that I don't follow necessarily the rules that everyone else follows. And that's my point, though. You know, you guys follow your own rules. Yep. I really think that anybody can do coloring justice if they just give themselves a chance to try it. I really do. Will you be perfect the first time? Will it look awesome probably your first time? Probably not. It wasn't for me. I used to take these markers. I used to take the Bic markers that you're talking about. Who was that said that? I used to take the Bic markers that I'm talking about, that you guys are talking about, that you mentioned, babysitting with me. I probably mentioned this every video. And I used to sit with a stack of printed, you know, images this thick. And when the baby went to sleep, I went through and colored as many images as I possibly could while I was babysitting. I'm going in with the super dark color now and just going over the very, very edges. Then I'm going to go back in with the lightest color and I'm going to blend this all out. But I sat there while I babysat and just colored until I couldn't color anymore. And that's how I got to the point where I am now. Where I went, oh, okay, well, I saw so-and-so or whatever, this brand doing it this way, but this kind of works for me. So I'm not going to spend, you know, 2 hours blending this out. I'm just going to go over it real quick because, you know, I got other projects I got to get done. I got deadlines to meet. I don't have 4 or 5 hours to spend on one coloring. You know, I gotta color it and move on. So there we go. I went over the whole thing of it. Okay. And now the sprinkles at the top, I just left like that little white, like a white, I don't know, like maybe there was a little bit of whipped cream on there and it melted over the top of his head. Whatever you want to do. I brought in a couple of different colors, like a blue and a yellow, 76 sky blue and 35 lemon yellow. And then just go through and color like three of them one color and then like 3 other ones a different color. I'm just looking at that drip going, okay, I think that drip needs to be pink. I'm just going to color over the top of it. So a couple of them blue, a couple of them yellow. What else did I put up there? Some pink. No, purple. Where's my purple? I don't know. I don't know what I did with it, but let's just pull out a purple. This is 82 light violet. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of purple there. This bleeds horrendously. Purples bleed horrendously. Could have been done lilac. What other color? Oh, I added in a little bit of green. So we'll do a that green, and that green. That looks good. Just so you have a couple of different like opposite colors up there so that they don't all look the same. That's all. And then I just left that white. You can go back in if you've got little bleeding. I got a little bit of pink bleeding in here. Go back in with your gel pen at the very end and fix that up. So let's talk about the eyes now. I went really big with the pupils and the eyes because I was thinking that I wanted the color to be bigger. I don't know. I was messing around with it, and that's what I ended up with. They're kind of cute. How about you guys decide? Do you want the pupils in the cat's eyes to be just like these, or do you want the black pupil part to be a lot thinner? You guys let me know, and then we'll finish up with the eyes. I'm going to take a drink while I'm waiting for that leg to catch up, and you guys be able to have a chance to answer me. Yes, those markers are on sale right now. They've dropped them a couple of dollars since the last time I put them out. So they're actually less than 50 cents a marker. I wouldn't be using them. I wouldn't be talking about them if I didn't like them. That being said, there are people that are wholeheartedly for one specific brand, and that's what they stick to, and that's fine. So I've got one vote for the large pupil, so maybe we'll just stick with what we have. Okay, so here's how I do mine. So I did the black or the green on the top. I do the color first. Okay, so I'm going to decide kind of where I want that pupil to end up. Actually, I should say the iris. And I do the color first. Leave a little bit of white on either side. That's the trick. That's the only trick that I know. Leave a little white on each side. Go over it a couple of times. Make sure that it's the color that you want it. And then go back in with your black. And I'm going to use a different kind of marker for this. I'm not going to use my alcohol marker because I want it to color in fully black. If you look at this one, I used a different marker on this one, and you can see where, oh, maybe it won't show on here. There's like a different color here, like a gray and a black. I want that to be fully black this time, so I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to hand draw in that pupil. Okay, that's it. You act like there's like, you're drawing on kind of something that looks like this, but the little points are actually up into their eyeball, so you're not seeing the full point. I hope that makes sense. And then be very careful just to color the whole thing in. Just like that. If you want to be a little bit more rounded, like these are a little bit more rounded, you can do that too. So the bottom ones we did blue, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can tell that the blue is bleeding out too. You just have to know that it's going to bleed a little bit, and don't go all the way to the edge, or if you do, just touch the edge. Just a little bit. Okay. And then go back in with your black. Make your line where you think you want it to go, and then color it in. Now, if you made the line where you didn't want it, you can always make it wider, but you can't, you can't erase it. So just be very careful as you're drawing these in. Draw them with pencil first maybe, but just be careful on erasing, because if your paper is wet from the alcohol ink, it'll tear it up. And then all I did was add some gel pen dots to the middle to make their eyes look like they're kind of shiny. You can put your dots in any old way that you want. I tend to start on my finger just to get it going. You don't have to, but I do. So this time around, I'm going to put one across here with a dot and then across. You can do them however you want. This one at the top, I think I'm going to put one dot at the top and then maybe one little tiny dot underneath it. See the difference it makes the eyes look? I just want to show you that. When you go back in with the gel pen, that's when they come to life. Check it out. Totally different eyes, right? Depending on what kind of dots and lines you put on them. Really, really cute. And then, put a little bit on those black parts on like his nose, where we put that little black part to make his nose look a little bit shiny. And then anywhere on the darker parts where you've added, you can put little lines and little dots and make it look like that's shiny as well. And I don't have any rhyme or reason to that. I just put it wherever it's aesthetically pleasing to myself, how I'm looking at it. Like, I think that looks cool, so that's how I do it. I don't think there's any real, unless you're an art major and you really feel like you have to do it a certain way, I don't think it really matters. But look at the difference in adding that white. I just think it's so cute. We'll put some on the little pink eye up here. I do believe that the faster, like if you don't let this dry, your white gel pen will kind of like bleed in. Like the color will bleed into your white gel pen. And instead of being really white, it'll be like a light pink, which is fine too because it blends in then. I think that does make sense. So however you want to add your gel pen. Oh, let's do some to his little eye. And then this is where you can go in to like where I bled pink into the white at the top and just cover it up just like an eraser. Love it. So now you can see at the top that there's no bleeding in the white. It's all white. So I filled it in. Super cute, right? We did that in less than a half an hour because I did a lot of talking in the beginning. And I have a fully colored image that's super cute and didn't take me any time at all. I really, really like the white gel pen thing. That is super cool. Let me just back out here a little bit so you can see the whole thing. There you go. So you can see a little bit of a difference in the eyes. Definitely in the eyes. I think this one is a lot more fun, a lot more alive looking. This one's a little bit more dull. The pupils are a little bit thinner in this one, I just noticed. And I'm going to try in this one since we have a few, I mean, we're way ahead of schedule. I'm just going to go ahead and try to do a little bit of extra brown in here. Bring some brown up and change how this is highlighted down here. Just for the heck of it. I want to see how it looks. So if you get a chance to check out the Amazon links, I usually link anything that I've personally used or have experience with or I know for a fact that are good. And any of those that I personally have and I know are good will be linked in my store. And if I'm using it in a video and I have it linked in the description box, you can be rest assured that I know that they're good products as well. I really like these Ohuhu markers too. I shouldn't even probably say this. I don't, how do I want to say it? I still very much use my Spectrum Noirs, but because these markers come in this really cool bag and they can sit, and this is the 80 marker set, and they can sit right on my desk, I am much more likely to grab markers from here than to get up and walk across my room to my setup for my other markers to get those. However, it's really nice to have these and my Spectrum Noirs because where there's not enough purples in here, I would go over and use some Spectrum Noir ones to add in some extra purple colors. And Copics, Spectrum Noirs, Ohuhus, Sharpies, Pro markers, all the other kind of alcohol markers, they all play very, very well together. So don't think that if you get one set, you can't use your other ones. You can blend them all together to your heart's content. Come up with your own color combinations. Eventually, I think that you'll come to realize that I really do like this darker one compared to this lighter one. This cone looks much cooler. You'll come to find that there are some that you just use over and over again because you love the way it looks. But don't be afraid to add in like colors that you're not used to. I watch people do that all the time. I'm not real super good at it yet, but that's something that I'm going to jump out of my box and try to do. Like they do shadows with browns and shadows with purples instead of just using gray and that kind of thing, which brings things to life. Because if you look at things in real life and realistic stuff, they're full of all kinds of different colors. It's just that we like to just put these in a box and say, okay, we're going to use all greens here. We're not going to add in any blue to that green because they're green. But we could add blue to that green and it would change the color and the tone substantially. And those are the kind of things that you can branch out and do as you get more practice and you start, you know, getting outside of that just basic bubble, which is what I'm in right now. What do you recommend for sparkle marker for over the top? I have a sparkle marker right here. This one, what is this one called? Where's my other one? I do have a couple of sparkle markers. Let me pull them out here. This one's called Clear Star Jelly Roll. I've got a couple of those. Where's my other one? Here's a Zig one. This is a Wink of Stella Zig one, but it's not the brush one. It's a very, very hard tipped point. Let me just, this one might even be dried up because I haven't used it in forever. Oh no, there it comes. Nope, it might be dried up. I think I either used it up or it went dry. It died on me. It died on me, people! But that's a good one. Obviously, I must have used it up. Where's my other one? I wasn't expecting that question, but I can't find them offhand. They must be down in my little bucket. I got lots of buckets. There's another one called Spica, I think it is. It's the Copic brand one. I usually have those. There it is. I just turned my thing around. I've got 3 of them, actually. So one of them is clear. And I even have this sticker on here, so don't forget. This is the Copic brand glitter marker. This one is clear. They're called At You Spica, which is kind of a strange idea. But this one says clear. This one is silver, and this one is gold. Let's see if we can't put a little bit of clear on there and see what happens. I'm going to do this one because I really, really like the other one. This one dry up on me too? What's up with this today? That is so weird. I just used this one in a video not that long ago. Let's try the silver. Oh, the silver is still working beautifully. Let's add a little bit of shine to the eyes. I'm not going to go over the white though, just the black. I wonder what happened to my clear ones. I guess if you don't use them, you lose them. But that one you can see the sparkle if I tilt it. It's still a little bit wet. It's hard to see it. In real life it looks really cool. It's really hard to pick up on camera. Dun, 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 dun. There's color in this eye too. See the shine? This one actually looks really good on a gray too. Let me color it just on white so you can see it. See the sparkle? Oh yeah, it glitters like granite. Do you see that? Really cool. Let's do the gold one. I'll just scribble it on white. See, the gold's working. I think the clears, if you don't use them, they just feel abused and they dry up. So there's the gold. Let's see if we can see the shimmer on that one. There it is. Beautiful. So I do really like these. I think it's time for me to buy a new clear one because I really like them. Let's try these Clear Star Jelly Roll. Let's see if these are dead. Oh no, this one's got gel. This one's got gel in it yet. Let me just scribble a little bit on here for you guys. And there we go. Look at the glitter on that. Woo! That is cool. That is really cool. So who makes these? Sakura, Japan. Clear Star Jelly Roll. And then the other ones, of course, are the Copic brand glitter markers called @uspika. So yeah, if you want some of that. The other thing, my favorite thing to do too, is just to put some stickles on there. Let's say I just want their little ears to be shiny. Maybe I'll just pull out a little bit of stickles and just put it on the insides of the ears and make their ears shiny. Oh, good time to end the video. They're starting up all their machinery again. Maybe lunch is over. Maybe they did an early lunch. They were out there at before 7 a.m., you guys. 6 something, I don't know what time it was. They were out there, beep, 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 all that just craziness. I think I'll put those all in a pocket so I know where they are next time, and that way you can see that then just his ears are glittering. Look how pretty. See, I love stickles. Glitter makes everything better. Oh, and I have a light on, which makes me look all ghastly and ghostly. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If coloring is something that you want to see more of, give me a great big thumbs up on your way out on this video. I would love to see that. And leave a comment if you have a question, leave that too. Any kind of engagement is always great on YouTube, as you guys know. The next live video will be Sunday, this Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you guys want a sneak peek, you want to join the Patreon group, patreon.com/qualitycrafts. We'll get you into that private group, and then you will get the Patreon posts that give you the sneak peek on what's coming up next. I can't wait to see you guys next video.